All right, this is One Last Midnight. Welcome back to another episode of Icarus. I don't know if you guys watched the live stream in which I first played Icarus, but man, I'm really impressed with this game. And honestly, so far, I think it's going to be an incredibly great survival game, maybe even one of the greatest. Look, you start off stranded. Well, you're not necessarily stranded, but you start off on a planet with nothing. And of course, like any other survival game, you know, you run around, you gather leaves, you gather sticks, you gather rocks in order to make your first set of tools. So that's going to be a pick or that's going to be an axe, and they're both going to be made of stone. Nothing too exciting. And you're also going to make a spear too for protection. And your main focus is trying to maintain your oxygen level, your food, and your water. And look, the water is a huge challenge in the beginning because in beta 2, they don't drop you right next to water. Now, unfortunately, I was not part of beta 1, so finding water for that first hour was incredibly difficult, and I absolutely went to the wrong area. But they did in beta 2 introduce this concept of caves. And it seems like, at least in the caves that I've been in, all the little caves that I've seen so far have a small patch of water that you can drink out of. And some are big enough that you can kind of set up a little basin, which is what I did. On top of that, in beta 2, they added storms, and the storms are no joke. If you get caught out in a storm, a bad one, you're dead. Your health is going to wind up decreasing into the point in which you die. Some of them are just incredibly violent storms, windstorms or lightning storms that produce or set stuff on fire, and trees fall down, and man, they're just terrifying. Some of the bad ones are really terrifying storms. So, like I said, you're focusing on oxygen and water and food and, you know, getting the pick to mine oxalite so that you can put that into your inventory to give you oxygen. Later, you'll get actually some really cool machines that will produce even greater amounts of oxygen for you, so oxygen becomes less of a concern. What does stay a constant concern is food and water, and also survival, because there's stuff out there that is absolutely trying to kill you. And early game, it's wolves, and later when you encounter the bear, it's the bear. And I have no idea if they're going to add in other creatures or if there is other creatures and I just haven't come across them yet, because the bears are enough to scare the bejesus out of you. They're tough. They're really, really tough. Hunting is kind of a challenge in the beginning until you get a bow. And then once you get a bow, shooting small game and killing off small game is relatively easy. Of course, once you kill off small game, wolves come by. So switching over to use the spear to defend yourself against a wolf or multiple wolves is kind of necessary. The first couple times I died, you know, I was reading the description that was on the screen, which says you lose all items and you accrue an experience penalty. I was doing it on a live stream and I was asking questions and people were saying, yeah, you absolutely lose all of your items. Well, that's actually not true. You drop a bag of, it's called an overflow bag, and those are the items that were on your body. At the very least, they were your weapons and your armor. I believe I lost all of my other items, like my sticks and my stones and all that stuff, but I maintained those weapons and those armor when I had it, those armor, so that I didn't have to make them over again. And I didn't realize this until like maybe 4 or 5 hours into the game because I got some bad information. Yeah, you can absolutely pick up your items after you die, at least your tools and your weapons and stuff. The rest of it is gone. But you don't have to start all over again. You just have to remember where you died at. And starting off, look, I highly recommend staying relatively close to your starship, at least in this beta. So you have a ship that has some inventory in it. And that's really all it's good for, is a little minor storage space in the beginning. I immediately found some mountainous area and found a small cave relatively close to my home base. The reason you want to stay close to that landing spot, or what I called your home base, is because the creatures around there are low level. You know, in the beginning, it's going to be when you're level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's going to be a little bit scary because these creatures are going to be equal level to you. But as you start getting higher in levels, they will be lower level to you, the wolves and the other deer and goats and whatever, so that they're easier to kill. And then also when the bears do show up, they're not incredibly high. They are higher level than you, but they're not so high that they're almost impossible to kill. The way you gain experience is by doing anything, right? Gathering will gain you experience. Mining will gain you experience. Hunting will gain you experience. Just gathering in general, like chopping down trees and stuff, will also gain you experience. So you can easily gain experience quickly by just doing those actions, and you'll start gaining not only technical points or skill points, but you'll also unlock crafting ability. Well, you'll have points that you can associate to crafting. And crafting inside of Icarus is huge. I didn't realize that there was a scroll bar on the bottom of tier 1, so I missed from the very beginning all of the little building stuff that you can do. But there's a huge amount of crafting that you can choose from, and you don't necessarily have to go in any order. You just, unless it has a prerequisite, you can pick any item that you want. And matter of fact, I didn't even bother focusing on building at all until I got to like level 15, and then I actually put some points into building, unlocking to build a structure. I used a cave for most of my stuff. I put my bed in a cave, I put my chest in a cave, and then any other tools that I needed or machines that I needed, like the smelter or the crafting bench, or there was another one, there was an anvil. Those all went into my cave, and I stayed in my cave, and I actually kind of built this like temporary protection out of wood piles and stone piles in front of the cave so that no creature would just wander in. At one point in time, a bear did wander inside of my cave, and I had to kill him off before he killed me off. But, you know, after I put up that little barrier, nobody really decided to come in. I'm really impressed with this. It's a hard game. The skill tree also allows you to invest in specific points that will help you out depending on your type of gameplay. So if you want to be gatherer or a hunter, or you want to get your, ranged weapons up, or there's even a solo tab which focuses on giving you more health, more stamina, and also reducing the consumption level of oxygen, food, and water, so that you last a little bit longer, so you don't have to constantly be feeding yourself or drinking. I focus most of my abilities into solo to begin with, and then I started focusing on a combat where I was damaging the wildlife more with my spear, and that seemed to work pretty well. I did, for the crafting side, I went to tier 2, started investing in tier 2, getting my iron weapons and my iron tools, and then invested in getting the low level armor, which is it's a fiber armor. It's kind of like leaves. It's not really that protected, but at least it's something. And then I invested in leather armor, which is the next one, to make me even less squishier. And it seems to be okay. You don't get a lot of protection from those beginning armors, but it's better than nothing. Again, I've been playing this beta weekend. It has been extended out one day. I don't know if I'm going to have time to play today. Maybe I will try to play some tonight after I get back. I'll see if it's still up and running. Hopefully it is. And get a couple hours in and playing. I'm really impressed with this survival game. You can have up to 8 people playing co-op, or you can play solo. Currently, right now, it is $26.99 US. It's like 10% off until November 27th. And there's a couple more beta weekends that's going to happen. Matter of fact, all the way into November up to their launch date. The next one is going to be Arctic, which is in the end of September. And then Desert in October. They'll add missions in at the end of October. And then Community, which is going to be a range of like communication and challenges and stuff, will be added in November. And then hopefully even more and more. If you look at the map is actually pretty huge. So I'm impressed with the size of the map, and hopefully you'll be able to get access to that. But each one of those grids is a pretty large area. So even with the limited access that they gave us in beta 2, it was still a lot of area to move around and check out. I will be checking out Icarus and trying to get into it. I really enjoyed the time that I played with it. So at any rate, I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, hit that like button. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. Would love to have you in the community. If you want to follow me on any of my social media, you can find the links in the description below. And make sure to hit that notification bell. That way you know when I go live and when I post new videos. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.